The Kraxan delegation stood proudly in the Galactic Council chambers, their obsidian scales gleaming under the artificial lights. For 3 centuries, they had been the only known Deathworld species, evolved on a planet so hostile that no other council member could survive there for more than minutes. Their homeworld, Krax, was a nightmare of 2.3 G gravity, sulfuric acid rain, and predators that could shatter steel. The Kraxan wore their origin as armor, commanding respect and fear in equal measure. They were the Council's enforcers, their warriors, their untouchable elite. Until humanity's application arrived. Earth? Supreme Warrior Thrak had laughed when he first read the file. 1 G gravity. Oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere? Liquid water? This is a garden world. The human ambassador, David Park, had simply smiled. Would you like to visit? That should have been their first warning. The Kraxan diplomatic team arrived on Earth in full environmental suits, despite human assurances they were unnecessary. Thrak removed his helmet immediately, taking a deep breath to prove Kraxan superiority. Your air is thin but manageable, he declared. And your gravity is amusing. I feel like I could fly. Wonderful, Park said. Let's start with a nature walk. Within 10 minutes, Thrak was covered in mosquito bites. Within 20, he'd brushed against poison ivy and was scratching furiously. Within 30, a seemingly harmless squirrel had bitten him for getting too close to its tree. Your wildlife attacks without provocation, Thrak gasped, treating the tiny wound with more medical supplies than a Kraxan warrior would use for a severed limb. Oh, that's just Steve, Park said casually. He's territorial about that oak. The real dangerous animals we keep in zoos. Want to see? The zoo was a revelation of horrors. The Kraxan learned about hippos, aquatic herbivores that killed for fun, about cassowaries, birds that could disembowel with a single kick, about the blue-ringed octopus, tiny, beautiful, and carrying enough venom to kill 20 Kraxan. These are your normal animals, Thrak's second-in-command whispered. Well, normal for Australia, Park clarified. That's just one continent. Want to hear about African wildlife? Or maybe the Amazon? But it was the human children's playground that broke them. Thrak watched in horror as tiny humans flung themselves from heights that would hospitalize a young Kraxan, laughing as they crashed into the ground. They played something called dodgeball, where they deliberately threw projectiles at each other. One child fell, skinned her knee badly enough to bleed, and simply ran back to playing after a bandage was applied. Your offspring are self-destructive, Thrak exclaimed. They're building immune systems and bone density, Park explained. Children who don't get hurt occasionally grow up fragile. We have a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Though we had to stop letting them play with lawn darts. Too many casualties. The briefing on human history was worse. Park explained about the Black Death, a plague that killed a third of Europe, and humans just continued. About world wars where millions died, and they rebuilt. About nuclear weapons they tested on their own planet. You irradiated your own world? Thrak asked, incredulous. A bit, Park admitted. We wanted to see what would happen. Turns out, life adapts. There are fungi growing in Chernobyl that eat radiation now. We're studying them for spacecraft shielding. The final straw was dinner. Park served them traditional cuisine from around Earth. The Kraxan watched humans cheerfully consume capsaicin, a literal neurotoxin, ethanol, a poison, and coffee, an insecticide. One human diplomat was eating something called bacaro. That smelled like chemical warfare. That's fermented shark, Park explained. Poisonous when fresh, so we bury it for months until it's differently poisonous, then eat it anyway. It's a delicacy in Iceland. Thrak stared at his analyzer, which was flashing warnings about half the foods on the table. You've weaponized your entire food chain. Not weaponized, Park corrected. We just like variety. Oh, this might interest you. We have people who voluntarily jump from functional aircraft with only fabric to slow their descent. For fun. We call it skydiving. That night, in their secured ship, the Craxan team compiled their report. Crax is a death world because everything there is hostile, Thrak dictated. Earth is a death world because humans make everything hostile and then adapt to enjoy it. They don't survive their planet, they challenge it to be worse. When it can't kill them, they invent new ways to risk death. They are not Deathworlders. They are Death Seekers who got too good at winning. He paused, then added, Recommend immediate alliance. Never, under any circumstances, make them our enemies. A species that considers voluntary poison consumption a culinary art and throwing themselves from heights entertainment cannot be predicted or defeated through conventional means. The Council voted unanimously to fast-track Earth's membership. The Craxan never called themselves the only Deathworlders again.